Hello my dear students. So welcome back to my channel, that is the Arunavasir Bioclass. So today we discuss a very important topic, that is the classification of plants. So this is the very important chapter because at first we try to classify the all living things, right? So the scientist R.H. Whittaker in 1969 first proposed the five kingdom classification of the living organism. So R.H. Whittaker classified the living organism into the five categories. Total living organism. What is this five kingdom? The five kingdom which is proposed by the Whittaker is the Monera, it is the Protista, it is the Fungi, it is the Plantae, and it is the Animalia. So all living things in the nature you can observe this fall into that particular one of this kingdom. Like the human beings, we are the animal kingdom. So that is a very important question. Which scientist proposed the five kingdom classification? R.H. Whittaker. And what is the five kingdom classification? Right, Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. So first, the organism. It is classified into the two groups according to their cellular structure. If their nucleus is not developed, that time they are called the prokaryotes. Monera is the most common example. Like the bacteria fall in that particular groups where the nucleus is not developed. But eukaryotes, like the human beings, our cell have the well developed nucleus. But if the eukaryotic cell we are classifying some details, that time we observe that some organisms have only one cell and some organisms have more than one cell. So which organism have only the one cell, they are called unicellular in nature. That means they have only one cell but they have the eukaryotic cell. Example like the Protista. But maximum, all the living organisms are fall in the multicellular group because they have the multiple number of cells. So they are called the multicellular, right? So many cells is there in their structure. Now, in the multicellular organism, we are classified into the two group. Some of one have the cell wall and some have not the cell wall. So with the cell wall and another one is without cell wall. Right. So cell wall is present in their outer envelope of their cell. It is right now we are classify it into the two group. Some of the organisms do not perform the photosynthesis, so they cannot produce their own food. They are the fungi. But cell wall are present and they are able to photosynthesis. They are autotrophs in nature. They are the Plantae. So we are classify the multicellular organism with the cell wall, but some of one are not perform the photosynthesis like the fungi. They are heterotrophic in nutrition. On the other hand, the plant is the autotrophic nutrition. They can perform the photosynthesis. But animal, like the human beings, we have the cell, but it is the multicellular, it is the eukaryotic, but we have no cell wall. So without cell wall, the animalia is there. One by one, we discuss the five kingdom classification in some details and what is their characteristic features and what is their example. First of one, the kingdom Monera. Kingdom Monera, some example of the kingdom Monadians group is the bacteria, is the blue-green algae, it is or the cyanobacteria. Blue-green algae or cyanobacteria, that is the bacteria or Monadians which are able to photosynthesis. Right. So this class is very important for your board exam and also some entrance exam foundation also. So you bear in mind the blue-green algae or cyanobacteria is the photosynthetic bacteria which is able to photosynthesize and can produce their own food. Right. Right. So what is the important features of the Monadians? the absence of the well-defined nucleus. So they have the prokaryotics, right? So membrane-bound organelles like the mitochondria, this type of organelles are absent in the monadians. So monadians have only one cell, so they are unicellular in nature. And all the monadians group are divided into two categories. Some are able to produce their own food, like the cyanobacteria, they are autotrophic in nature, but someone like the E. coli bacteria, like the lactobacillus, this one is not produce their own food, so they are heterotrophic in nature. Clear? Okay. Now we discuss the second kingdom, that is the kingdom Protista. Kingdom Protista have some common some example is there, like the amoeba is there, paramecium is there, diatoms is there, also the plasmodium. You know plasmodium, and which disease they are cause? You know? Please write down in the live chat box. Which one? It is the malaria, right? Very good. But what is the important features of the Protista? Protistians are also the unicellular in nature because they have only one cell. But their cell have the well-defined nucleus, so they are eukaryotic organism. Like the Monadians, the kingdom Protistians also have the two types of nutrition. Someone are produce their own food, so they are autotrophic in nature. On the other hand, some are not produce their own food, so they are heterotrophic in nature. Now we are go to our third kingdom, that is the kingdom Fungi. You commonly known as, like, it is the yeast, mushroom, penicillium, aspergillus. It is the some common example of the fungi, right? You can also the observe or the see the fungi in your daily life. Also, you know the mushroom is a very delicious food, and which is have the lots of different type of nutrient on it. Penicillium, what is their importance? You know, the first antibiotic is the penicillin. It is ultimately formed by the Penicillium notatum. It is the fungi, and which scientist ultimately first develop it? You know it. Write down their name in the chat box. First, the scientist who developed the antibiotic from the Penicillium notatum, Alexander Fleming. Very good. Alexander Fleming. Please you bear in mind all this of information. Now, the important features of the fungi. Fungi are most commonly they are multicellular. Some exception also be there. The yeast, they are unicellular in nature, but mushroom, penicillium, and aspergillus, they are multicellular in nature. But most important characteristic features of the fungi is that they are heterotrophic in nature. They cannot produce their own food, so they depend on different things for their food. But commonly they are take the food from the dead organic matters, so they are called the saprophytes. On the other hand, you know some fungi also grow in our body. That time they are called parasitic fungi. But most important one characteristic feature is there, the fungus cell wall, which is made up of the chitin. This is a very important material, you know, and very important question on the different exam. The cell wall composition of the fungi, that is the chitin. Now we discuss the fourth kingdom, that is the kingdom Plantae. Kingdom Plantae, you know, the multicellular and the eukaryotic organism. Generally, there are multiple number of cells, but near nucleus is developed in their cells, so they are eukaryotic. But in the plant, most important characteristic features, they contain the chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is the most important pigment. It is present in the chloroplast, and they have the most important function that they have the help to photosynthesis. So plant have the chlorophyll, so they help the photosynthesis, so they are the autotrophic in nature. Another important characteristic features of the plant kingdom is their cell wall. It is made up of cellulose. To bear in mind, the fungus cell wall, which is made up of chitin. On the other hand, the plant kingdom, the kingdom Plantae and their cell wall is made up of cellulose. Now we discuss the fourth kingdom, that is the kingdom Animalia. That is our kingdom, right? So what is the important features of the kingdom Animalia? They are multicellular in nature, they have the many cells, they have the well-defined nucleus, so they are eukaryotic organism, but they have not the chloroplast. Chloroplast is absent in the animal cell, so they cannot perform the photosynthesis. So they are dependent on others. This type of nutrition is called the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. And cell wall is absent in the animal cell, also we discuss in that particular chapter. Now we discuss the most common one member, that is the bacteria, which is fall of the Monadians. Bacteria, we are here any name of the bacteria? Like lactobacillus, like the Escherichia coli, right? Salmonella typhi, all these are bacteria. So bacteria is very primitive because when the earth or formation are happening, that time some bacteria also present in that time. First time, the archaeobacteria, this is the one type of bacteria, it is formed in our nature. So they're very primitive. They have only one cell, so they are unicellular in nature, and their cells do not have the well-defined nucleus, so they are prokaryotic organism. But the bacteria, where it is present? It is present in everywhere, right? Now we classify the bacteria according to their shape. Bacteria have the different shape, like the cocky, that time they have the like circular shape. Bacillus, that time it is a rod shaped structure. Spiralium, or it is have the spiral like structure. Vibrio, that is the comma like structure. So we are classify the bacteria according to their different shape. You know, the cell wall of the bacteria, it is made up of one important heteropolysaccharide, that is the peptidoglycan. So what is the chemical composition of the bacterial cell wall? This is a peptidoglycan, which may or may not be covered by a slimy protective layer of the capsule. So some bacteria have the capsule on the outer surroundings and some have not the capsule. So which bacteria have the capsule? They are capsulated bacteria, right? You know, the lack most of the cell organelles because they are the prokaryotic in nature, but ribosome or vacuoles are present in the bacterial cell. Some bacteria is a wife-like structure is there in that structure, that is called the flagella. What is their function? They help the bacterial movement. Most bacteria are the heterotrophic in nature, so they cannot produce their own food, so they are dependent on other things. Sometimes bacteria, they are take the food from the dead organic matter, right? So this is the saprophyte type of bacteria. Also sometimes the bacteria, they are take the nutrient from the living things. So that time it is called the parasites, right? You got the difference, parasite and the saprophytes. Parasite means they take the nutrient from the living host. Saprophyte means they take the nutrient from non-living things. So reproduction. The reproduction are asexually through the binary fission. One cell are divided into the two part or the two cells. This is called the binary fission. But you know, the sexual reproduction also be there, like the conjugation, transformation, and transduction. It is you learn in your higher classes. But what is the importance of the bacteria? Bacteria are the two aspects, they are important. One is the beneficial and one is the harmful aspect. Number one, you know the different things like the cheese, curd, and the antibiotics is ultimately you get from this bacteria. Also some harmful effect also with there. They have the cause the spoilage of food and different kinds of disease like cholera, like the typhoid. This is are happening due to the infection of the bacteria. So bacteria is the two type of two sides. One is a harmful side, one is a helpful side. So some bacteria are helpful also with there, like the rhizobium bacteria. They can help the nitrogen fixation. Lactobacillus, that is the most important type of bacteria in our present in our body also, E. coli also. And you know the fungi. You know some details about that. Fungi are the eukaryotic in nature, unicellular, multicellular maybe. Mushroom is a multicellular, non-photosynthetic organism. They are found in the different diverse shape and size. Then cell wall is made up of the chitin, right? But you can observe some lemon. In the above of the lemon bodies, you observe some transparent thread-like structure. It is called the hypha. And the different hypha are collectively known as the mycelium. So single one is called the hypha and total branch is called the mycelium. So the sexual reproduction is very important. So different type of asexual reproduction also be there. So asexual reproduction also happening by the different spore, like the sporangiospore are the special type of hypha that have the sporangium in there on the top, and from the sporangium the spore are produced. The spore, once ultimately the spore are get mature, the sporangias burst and release them into the environment. And spore, when getting the suitable substratum or the medium, they germinate and produce the new mycelium. But most of the fungi are the saprophytic in nature. So they take the nutrient from the dead organic matters, but some fungi also be parasitic in nature. Fungi generally reproduction is a different methods they can follow. They follow the budding methods, the spore formation methods. So what is the importance of the fungi? Fungi are used for the production of some antibiotics. In food industry, they have the well importance. Also, they have some harmful aspect like the bacteria. They can spoil the food. They can cause the skin infection like the athlete's foot disease and the ringworm disease. That is the most common to disease which is happening in the human beings. Right. Now we are discussing the structure of the amoeba. Amoeba, this is the unicellular organism. They have only one cell. They are belongs to kingdom Protista. They are belongs to kingdom Protista. Where the amoeba is present. Amoeba present in the ponds or the ditches on the place where there is a stagnant water. So amoeba show a special type of movement that is called the amoeboid movement. But how? Amoeba is have the a finger-like projection. This one, it is the pseudopodia. So amoeboid movement, it is happening due to the help of the pseudopodia, right? So pseudopodia have the help to movement, that is their important function. Another one also with the function also with there, that is they help to taking the food, right? So it feeds with the help of the pseudopodia and forming an extension around the food particles, and the resulting the formation of the food vacuole. And if ultimately extract unwanted material through the cell membrane, a contractile vacuole is present internally in the amoebal structure. This is important for the release of the excess amount of water or help in the excretion. Respiration are occur by the cell surface, and it is reproduction by the binary fission most commonly in the favorable condition, but multiple fission also be there. That means the one cell divided and produce the many cells in the unfavorable conditions, right? So this is the two type of reproduction processes there. Now we discuss the kingdom Plantae. Kingdom Plantae have the 5 division. Already we know that kingdom Plantae means they are the eukaryotes. They have the chlorophyll, so they can produce their own food by the process of photosynthesis, right? Okay, so the first of one, the division is a Thallophyta. The Spirogyra and the Cladophora and Ylvia. Sometimes this Spirogyra is belongs to not the alga, right? They have some controversial point, but in your level you fall it in the division Thallophyta. Thallophyta, that means the most important features, the plant body is not differentiated into 2 roots, stems and leaves, right? So spore are produced in the result of the fertilization. So they are not divided in the root, stem or leaves, so they are called the Thallophyta, right? Alga also the belongs in that particular group, alga. Now we discuss the second division, that is the Bryophyta. Most commonly, you bear in mind the most common some example mosses, rixia and marchantia. That means the liver rots. Bryophyta are called the amphibians of the plant kingdom. Amphibians because for their continuation of life or living life, the bryophytes living require both the water and the soil or land. So they are called the amphibians, right? They have some facial features like they have not the vascular tissue. Their body is differentiated into stem or leaf-like structure but not well developed. Then ultimately naked embryo and spore are present in their structure. Right? Now we discuss the third division, that is the pterophytes. Pterophytes, most commonly you know the fern, Marcellia and the Equisteum. This is the most common three example which is the belongs to the division of the pterophytes. Pterophytes, they have the most important characteristic features. They have the specialized vascular tissue. Specialized vascular tissue for the conduction of water, and water are present in there, right? So specialized vascular tissue for the conduction of water is present. So xylem or phloem is present in there. Naked embryo also there in that structure, and spore are present in that particular structure. Their plant body are most commonly differentiated into the root, stem and leaf structure. Now the division gymnosperm. Division gymnosperm, that means most common some example like the pinus, like the cedar, like the fir or the juniper or the cycas is some most common example. But what is the most some common characteristic features? It is a seed bearing plant but non-flowering plants. But seed is there but non-flowering. Bear the naked seed and not enclosed inside the fruit. Vascular bundle are present, so but xylem lack the fascicles and phloem lack the companion cell. This is a very unique question for your science Olympiad type of exam. Flowers are absent and instead the male and female cones are formed. Cones in the plant, like there are cones like structure are there. Now we are discuss the most dominant plant in our nature, that is the division of angiosperm. Angiosperm, their most common characteristic features, they have the flowering plants, which have the seeds which is enclosed inside the fruit. These plants bear the flower and can consist of the four holes, that is the calyx, corolla, androecium and the gynoecium. Seeds are developed inside the ovary, which develop into the fruit. So ovary, after fertilization, the fruit are developed. From the ovule, the seed are developed. Now we are classify the angiosperm into the two groups. That is very important question. One is the monocotyledons, another one is the dicotyledons. Mono means the one. So monocotyledons, they have the only one cotyledons. Example like maize, like wheat. On the other hand, dicotyledons, that means the seeds have the two cotyledons. Sunflower, gram, mango, peas, all of the example of the dicotyledons, right? So this is the two groups. Clear? So today we discuss about the plant kingdom and total kingdom classification system of the living organism in some details. Please you read carefully. If any doubts, please you write down in the comment section. Thank you very much. And tomorrow I take a test from this in the your Zoom class. I take a test from that particular chapter. Please you read thoroughly this chapter in today. Okay, so tomorrow Sunday we have a test for this chapter, that means the classification of plants, right? So bear in mind, please you prepare this chapter uh, up to the next day. Thank you very much, wish you best of luck, right? Thank you.